Hey, True Believers, Englentine here. So every Friday, I want to explore the origins, or at least the first issues, of a popular character. Of course, with the Aquaman movie, I figured, what the heck, let's start with Aquaman. So I took a video I did for Patreon, and I re-recorded the whole thing today, just to give something fresh, a fresh perspective on it. And that is Aquaman's first appearance in comic books, the Golden Age appearance, and that is in More Fun Comics number 73. It also shares with Green Arrow, which is in the History of Comics section on this channel, so please check that out. I think you'll enjoy it. And it's kind of a comic book roast. I hope you enjoy this. Please, if you do, let me know in the comments section below. Otherwise, here we go. Let's begin. I am a sucker for a splash page. Man, give me a good old-fashioned splash page. I'm a-okay with it. It's just a sign of the golden age times. In this one, though, man, okay, the whole is Aquaman bulletproof thing. He is bouncing a cannon shell, or whatever you would call that, off of his forearm while he's leaping. That thing isn't even hurting his trajectory at this point. This is a pretty cool, I like the battleship in the back, man, but one thing, what the heck is going on with that Nazi's eyes? Look at the Nazi captain facing the gunner. Is he supposed to be wearing a monocle? Is that what's going on here? It's just, that is some weird stuff, because it looks like they drew a pupil on both sides. At worst, the guy's wearing one of those diamond things that you look at the diamonds with. Is one of the worst. I don't know. I do believe he has a Hitler mustache as well, so there's just not a lot going on good with that Nazi. Well, you know, when is there ever? So anyway, what I'm pretty sure is overly dramatic box says, "Many have heard the legend of Aquaman, but who will believe so strange a tale? Most amazing of all the secrets of the sea is the story of Aquaman, who, like a water god of old, dwells in the dim, unknown depths of the ocean, leaping forth to do battle with the evils and injustice of the world we know." I miss the hyperbolic, descriptive panels of yesteryear. Anyway, the comic book continues. An unarmed ship speeds over the high seas on its errand of mercy and suddenly falls victim to the torpedo of a ruthless submarine raider. "We're sinking fast. Lower the lifeboats. Women and children first. And don't assume gender." The killer craft comes to the surface like a vulture scouting his prey. "Look, the last boat leaves." I'm not very good at German, but I'm going to still try to do it. "The captain takes charge. Right, Lieutenant, and he sees us. Listen, he's going to hail us. You fired on a defenseless ship, you cowards. A ship carrying refugees and hospital workers," he says as he's shaking his fist towards the U-boat that actually shot them down. "Refugees and hospital workers. They must not live to tell the papers. The story sink that lifeboat." They can't exactly have bad press for the Nazi party? Is that what they're thinking is? Anyway, they fire a torpedo, and you see Aquaman's arm shoot forth from out of the sea, and the exclamation of, "Oh my gosh, a hand from out of the sea," shouts the lady. And at the last moment, you see Aquaman pulling the boat to safety in rather a violent fashion. If you look, it's actually out of the water at this point. So that woman, baby, they could be in the drink. I don't know. That's the way it looks to me anyway. What, a single man handled this boat like that? Impossible. "But I saw him. There he goes now." And we see Aquaman swimming away. "They must not be allowed to escape. Load up and fire again." And of course, in the background, this is my favorite part of this particular scene, because it plays off Aquaman like Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin. "And now for this metal fish that strikes like a killer shark." Out of the waves leaps a figure of terrible reckoning, and he kicks him in the shin. Knocks him over, knocks the soldier over, but it's just like a boop. Okay, I kick you in the shin. I love the body positioning as well. But then again, he is in mid-jump, so what you gonna do? And he goes to try to get the... have you noticed, wait a second, in this panel where Aquaman is going to the German guy as he's going down the ladder, the German man, his eye, even in that first panel, the monocle is now flesh-colored, so it looks like he's closing both eyes as he's climbing into the sub. As for you, commander of killers, no, ahoy, below, dive, quickly, get us away from here. I can't do German accents. I'm really bad at all of this. I apologize. There they go, says Aquaman, with their tail behind them. The ocean isn't deep enough to hide them. But first, to help the castaways. Diving deep, the strange man of the sea addresses friendly porpoises in their own language, and they obey. His porpoise accent must be better than my German accent. In the next panel, we see Aquaman's not so much pushing the boat as it looks like he threw it. Man and boy, I've sailed the sea for 40 years, but not even make me believe it, the captain of the dinghy says. Say, man of the sea, from what land are you? From no land, Aquaman says. My name is Aquaman. But these miracles you've done for us, how did you manage them? Aquaman answers, well, there's no harm in telling you. The story must start with my father, a famous undersea explorer. If I spoke his name, you would recognize it. My mother died when I was a baby, and he turned to his work, solving the ocean's secrets. Thus, we get the origin of Aquaman, the Golden Age origin of Aquaman, we should say. There's a lot of words here, but wow. So you meet his father. That's the first thing right out of the gate. And one of the things you have to ask yourself is, are you not cold? I'm sorry, if you've ever spent any time under the water where you're actually really deep under the water, it is cold down there. That's why you wear, wetsuits and everything. But wow, okay, so he's basically in a tunic. Aquaman begins a story. His greatest discovery was an ancient city in the depths where no other diver had ever penetrated. My father believed it was the lost kingdom of Atlantis. This once was a great civilization drowned ages ago by a deluge. He made himself a watertight home in one of the palaces and lived there studying the records and devices of the race's marvelous wisdom. From the books and records he learned ways of teaching me to live under the ocean. These remains of their science shows that they possessed wonders the upper world has never known. Drawing oxygen from the water and using all of the power of the sea to make me wonderfully strong and swift. By training into 100 scientific secrets, I became what you see, a human being who lives and thrives under the water. My son is a true dweller of the deep. His name shall be Aquaman. Okay, did he name him Aquaman when he was what looks like a teenager? Or did he have a name before this? I mean, we know it's Arthur Curry now, but in the origin story, so far he's not been called Arthur, just saying. This is news to us. Okay, anyway. That's just very strange. Also, if the Atlanteans could teach themselves how to live underwater, then why did the sinking of Atlantis destroy them? Doesn't quite make sense. But then again, this is the Golden Age, and at some point you do have to accept Golden Age silliness. And this part is kind of strange to me, because it's like, there's my origin, gotta go. And he continues it as he's running, so it's like, oh, and I just kind of continued the studies in the city, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. You know the whole thing. And the guy tries to stop him by saying, wait a second, we're going to reward you. I seek no reward, he says as he jumps into the water. And then, of course, he's swimming with a dolphin or porpoise or whatever, saying, we got to go catch that U-boat because they's evil. I mean, I'm paraphrasing at that point. But, yeah, you get the picture anyway. So the description says that the Nazis have returned to their base, a little-known island near the sea lanes where a high official waits for a report. You are back, Captain. You sank that refugee ship? I did, Excellency. But the story I have to tell you will make you shudder, and I take my oath it is all true. And I like the way that, like, right away, His Excellency, which is all he's called right here, says, ha ha ha, you are a good soldier, and like all sailors, you spin a good yarn like, oh, I'm not going to believe anything you say, and besides, this guy probably doesn't even own a monocle. But the corpsman next to him sees something coming out of the water. Captain, Excellency, look what comes out of the water. And we see, forth from the waves bursts a terrifying juggernaut of justice. Aquaman, ladies and gentlemen, a terrifying juggernaut of justice. And like immediately the Super Friends come out and he becomes a joke. And then Aquaman's like riding the dolphin or porpoise. I'm not really sure how to draw, so whichever is this one. I've oceans of love for you boys, says Aquaman. And he's pointing at the Nazis. So I'm wondering, is he saying he has oceans of love for the Nazis? Or is he talking about his dolphins? What's the deal here? Because either way, that is just a bizarre line to be said. Once again, I love these sea puns because... wow, they are bad. They are incredibly bad. There he is, the man of the sea, run, hide. And of course, His Excellency. What is this, a masquerade joke? Bring a submachine gun. They fire at Aquaman. Of course, he's under the water. So, but before the bullets strike, Aquaman dives from sight. So, now it is the sea creature who flees like a frightened minnow. Reaching the submarine, Aquaman lunges a powerful blow at the vessel's hull, and the metal plates buckle and snap under the terrific impact, and the submarine goes down with one hole in it. Yeah, this is very poor. I've heard of efficient German engineering, but apparently they hadn't learned when they were making the submarines. My submarine! It sinks! It is lost! Then the captain of the U-boat confirms that's the only way off the island, and Aquaman jumps up, but as he's jumping onto the dock, he's saying, you're only half right, you are trapped, but no submarine will ever report to you again. And the captain draws a gun, and Aquaman looks at him and says, don't threaten me, I'm no helpless refugee woman aboard a peaceable ship. What an ass. So Aquaman chases the two Nazis up a hill. By the way, there were three, actually, if you count the ensign, Nazis in that entire submarine. Just pointing this out. He chased into what he says, oh, I chase you into your own arsenal, big shots. And this is weird because one of them drops a hammer on his head. And I'm thinking, didn't you just, bounce a tank shell off your forearm, but the hammer knocks you out? That is kind of dumb. But that's not as dumb as it can get, because then he says, the Nazis say, our captive awaits. Do you still sneer at us, ocean freak? And the other says, a strange enemy, it's a pity he must die before we learn the mystery of his origin. And the commandant, or whatever, Excellency, you like the water so much, back to it you'll go. Yes, feed him to the fishes. It's like, wait a second, he came in riding a dolphin. You see him swimming and living under the water. I mean, all of this, and they think the way to kill him is to dump him into the ocean. This is not a good plan. Not a good plan at all. So they tie him up with weights and put weights on around his ankles and arms, and they drop him in the ocean. How deep is the ocean? Down, down, like a leaden weight plummets the shackled Aquaman and into the mouth of an extinct sea volcano. The tons of water pressure pressing from all sides, fatal to any normal being, prevent Aquaman from bursting his bonds. Davy Jones' locker is nothing on this place, but how to get out? Aquaman's keen eyes suddenly sight a cluster of rare sub-ocean plants on the floor of his watery prison. One fights fire with fire and water with water. I know how to stop that tidal wave. Throw a glass of water at it. Aquaman has recognized the bulb-like plants as a species containing a bright greenish fluid in the same manner that a squid exudes an inky-like liquid to confuse its enemies, so these plants secrete a colored fluid when molested. An emergency signal of distress, but my friends will understand. Attracted by a strange green semaphore that diffuses the water, Aquaman's minions of the deep race to the aid of their human ally, and you see all the porpoises going towards them. The mass of porpoises propel Aquaman above where the lesser pressures Thanks, friend. I knew you'd get my signal, make it possible for him to burst his bonds. I feel like a new man up here. Aquaman knifes through the water like a torpedo, yearning to destroy a band of inhuman outlaws. Not much of a workout. Yet. That sea creature was like many other powerful enemies. Our wits were too much for him. Yes, he must be fish bait by now. Ha 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 ha. This is ridiculous. I love Golden Age comics. This will knock your wits out. Wah, wah, wah. That's a bad pun. That is just a bad one. It really is. Anyway, what is it? The captain runs away. I must escape that sea monster. You land monsters are far worse. This will kill him. Save me. Or is it, this will kill him. Save me. You haven't won yet, you walking fish. So he throws a grenade at Aquaman and he says, I don't know what danger this is, but I throw it back to you. And the bomb explodes. The great storehouse of munitions goes up in a mighty flame. And oh my gosh, that is so freaking cartoonish. The way they have the guy, like, you expect a goofy Wilhelm going on right here. Woo! Hoi, hoi, hoi! As he flies up into the air. It's totally... Okay. Is this to show that he survives so they could pass the comics code? No, this is pre-comics code, by the way. The submarine sunk. The supply of weapons destroyed. The leader of murder dead. He's the leader of murder. We did not know that. It's not the Nazi part. It's the murder. It's the leader of murder. So ends one labor of Aquaman. Okay. Killing the leader of murder is the labor of Aquaman. But there is much to do in this perilous upper world. And the final box. Much to do, yes. And Aquaman, sovereign of the sea, accepts the challenge of evil. From his lair in the deep, he rises to face new dangers and win new triumphs. Don't miss the new exploits of Aquaman, coming soon in more fun comics. And so there you go, guys. That's the first appearance of Aquaman. And to tell you the truth, not all that bad. There are a couple of things, you know, the puns are really bad. There is a bunch of Golden Age silliness. But when it comes right down to it, it's not a bad story at all. I kind of... want to make a note of the fact that this is what, 6-8 pages maybe, and all of that story fit there. You don't get that nowadays. I mean, to tell the story that they just told today would take 6 issues, and most of it would be filler and fluff. This is pretty cool. I like this particular issue, I have to admit. I do appreciate a good story, and this was. Granted, once again, those puns are pretty bad, and the idea that they could be trained to breathe underwater, that was kind of strange, especially when you're considering the sinking of Atlantis is what killed them. Anyway, but that's just nitpicky. There you go, gang. First appearance Friday. What did you think? Let me know in the comments below if you like this, if you want to see more. Also, what characters do you want to see done? And if there's multiple, like Green Lantern or The Flash, which character would you like to see the first appearance of? Tell me that in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, please click like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell because that's more important. YouTube pays more attention to the subscribe or the notifications than they do subscribe. And sometimes they actually notify people that, hey, this guy's got a video and a live stream out. Also, this is the way I'm trying to make a living, so if you don't mind helping out the channel, by all means, please go on over to Patreon, or in a couple of days, I'll have a Ko-Fi account. Drop $1 in the till and helps keep the lights on, helps keep making videos for you. Like, thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.